However, it just smacks of wrong when you recall players because you've apparently got some injuries and then the injuries don't materialise, but those players have already missed out on an opportunity of playing, and now they won't get re-loaned back out, because if they did it'd have to be on a minimum month loan basis now without a recall, because you can't recall in the first month. So it doesn't look like these two are going to get proper Super League game time now, which is a shame, because especially Louis Johnson, I think he was starting to show his potential, and I could only imagine playing consistently at Super League was what he needed.
Yeah, I mean, as much as, I like to laugh at Rovers, I think the situation stinks. I totally agree with Tom. These recalls, it should have to be that your week runs from 9 a.m. on a Monday morning till, or midnight on a Monday till midnight on the Sunday, and you have to say that you're recalling them before the Monday.
Yeah, or like Tom suggested, at the very least, before, like, everyone knows when teams have got to announce their 19-man squads. I think it's 1 p.m. on the day 2 days before match day. So you've got to recall them before that deadline.
It's just
least.
Wrong.
Yeah,
it's wrong for as you say, for the players and for the club, for Rovers, because it's just completely screwing them over.
And it'll make them more reticent to go and do business with a club like Warrington if Warrington are going to do this back to them.
I just thought it'd make everyone more cautious about doing business with Warrington.
Yeah.
Because every other club in the league is going to look and think, well, that could have been us.
No, I agree. I do think it's a bit dicey by Warrington doing that, even though it's their players, their money's invested in them, and they need to cover their own injuries. But
to then have them not even sitting on the bench.
I know, crazy. Okay, Leigh have signed junior. Talking of people with questionable decision making, Leigh jumped way ahead of Warrington in that stakes. They've signed Junior Sow, Adam Higson and Mitch Clark with immediate effect. Centre Sow, who's 32, has penned a deal with Leigh until the end of the 2020 season after leaving Salford. Winger Higson, who's also 32, rejoined his hometown club Leigh on a deal until the end of the 2020 season from Championship rivals Toronto, because hey, Leigh are putting the band back together. And prop Clark, 26, will join Wigan on a 3-year contract from 2020, but will be available to the Centurions for the rest of the season after being released by Castleford. As long as he was not going to play for Wigan, he was allowed to leave. Tom Andrews said, "Bit of a joke this. Not so long ago, Derek was ripping up players' contracts because he was broke. Now he's signing anyone and everyone again, as well as sponsoring a trophy. No way Sundek's bringing this much coin." It's not just a bit of a joke. I think it's an absolute joke. I think Derek Beaumont has really, borderline brought the game into disrepute over the last 18 months or so. Basically cutting the League club off and all the full-time players that played for them, deals that he gave those players and that they signed in good faith, he decided that he couldn't maintain, even after agreeing to keep them. But they got half a season where they started the first games badly, so bin them off. Now the first half of this season, they've performed okay. They've done pretty well, probably slightly better than expected. And all of a sudden, is spending the cash again and gambling on Super League again. I don't know. I know Leigh Centurions fans must be grateful that they've had him be able to support the club all these years since they've been broke in the 5, 6, 7 years ago, and all of that. But surely they must be a bit reticent about the way this guy's toying with the playing squad at his club, and whether or not he wants to actually support them or back them and support and back the players. It's amazing that so many of these players want to go back and play for this club after how they treated their fellow professionals less than 12 months ago when they had to borrow half a team to be able to play the Championship Shield final.
It's very odd, isn't it? It just doesn't quite make sense. However, having said that, I do think that they are good signings he's made.
Oh, yeah.
But what does that say to your current players there?
Well, what if they don't get promoted this year and lose the first 5 games of next season?
Yeah.
whose contracts are going to try and who's he going to say we can't maintain the investment in the team because the TV deal's not going to give us any money next year, and all of that sort of stuff. I mean, I wouldn't be signing long-term deals with this club because they're not going to honour them.
No, they've shown that in the past.
Yeah. Although Junior Sow's a fantastic signing for the Championship, isn't he?
Really is.
It's definitely going to do good things for them there. So actually, they might not be resigned to the Championship, and you might actually be able to pay these players next year if they go up to the Super League. Mitch Clark is an aggravating one from a Wigan perspective. I completely understand Castleford's position on this, that they don't want to help out a team that they're in a top 5 playoff race with. So I do understand that position. It just feels like it's all been handled in a bit of a petty way by sort of pissing Mitch Clark off so that he didn't really perform for them anymore, and so that they didn't get any benefit from him, but also not letting him move on and get the best for himself. It just seems like it's been handled in a bit of a petty way, but I do completely understand why they've acted so selfishly and pettily, because that's a word I've invented, because they're gunning for the top 5, aren't they, directly against Wigan, who need forwards, and they want to prevent Wigan from being able to have those forwards.
Yep.
But it does sound like Wigan did make concerted efforts to try and bring him in, and they were knocked back repeatedly. So good luck to him at Leigh. Hopefully it means he can get settled in the Wigan area, so that nothing goes off weird at the start of next year when he joins the Wigan club, from my perspective. Where am I going? Swinton have signed forward Nick Gregson from Leigh for the rest of the season. Gregson, 23, came through the ranks at Wigan and made 3 appearances for the Lions on dual registration in 2016 and 17. He's also turned out for Workington and Oldham. Yeah, I hope he realises potential at Swinton and gets some game time and gets some respect there. Good luck to him. The 8 nations who will compete in the Women's World Cup in 2021 have been confirmed. The Rugby League World Cup 2021 will see the men's, women's and wheelchair tournaments played concurrently for the first time. The nations confirmed for the women's tournament are England, who are hosts of course, Australia, who are the holders, Brazil, Canada, Cook Islands, France, New Zealand and Papua New Guinea. Brazil is the headline grabber here, isn't it?
Yeah, that
Who knew?
That well-known rugby league nation.
I think it's fantastic that it's the continued geographical expansion of our game. Hopefully they can put together a competitive side that know the rules, because I don't know if they play rugby league in Brazil at the moment. No,
it's be interesting to see.
But if we can get off the back of any of the investment they put into rugby ahead of the Rio Olympics that they had there, where Rugby Sevens was in that, then if Rugby League can hop onto the back of that and get some lap up some of the benefits of that investment, then I think it's fantastic. So hopefully the girls from Brazil can perform admirably. And elsewhere in that, you've got to suggest that England, Australia and New Zealand are the favourites. France and PNG are doing good work to build their sides up, so they could be competitive by 2021.
Yep, and in the 2021 Rugby League World Cup wheelchair tournament, the 8 nations have also been announced there, and it'll be England, Australia, France, who are the holders, Norway, Scotland, Spain, United States of America and Wales. And the draw for this tournament will take place in November.
Yeah, I mean that's like 2 years ahead of the tournament, isn't it? So people will know who they're playing and all of that. So interesting ones in that list, I suppose, are Spain and the USA. I think the USA maybe will get a competitive team together for that. And I didn't know Spain and Norway had wheelchair teams. I think this is, again, fantastic that there's more countries who can support the very inclusive sport of rugby league.
Yep.
St Helens pair Regan Grace and Morgan Knowles have both been included in Wales' elite training squad. Coach John Two Skulls Keir will use the 35-man squad to prepare for autumn's World Cup Nines and 2020 European Championship. Ben Flower, who's not played for Wales since 2013, and Gil Dudson, who I think similarly hasn't played much for Wales in that time, are also included, while London Broncos' Elliot Keir continues as captain. So the squad in full is Rhys Evans, Dalton Grant and Kobe Green from the Bradford Bulls, Josh Ralph from East's Tigers, Chester Butler, Connor Davies, Curtis Davies, Dan Fleming and Sion Jones, all from Halifax, Jake Emmett from the Leigh Centurions, Matty Fozzard, Elliot Keir, Rhys Williams from the London Broncos, Lloyd White, who's playing his trade in the Mackay Cutters at the moment, Rob Masson from the North Wales Crusaders, Caleb Aitkins from Penrith Panthers, Gil Dudson and Louis Roberts from the Salford Red Devils. I've never heard of Louis Roberts. Regan Grace and Morgan Knowles, both from St Helens. Gavin Benyon, Mike Butt, Rodri Lloyd and Ben Morris from the Swinton Lions. Ben Evans from Toulouse. Courtney Davies, Elliot Jenkins, Ollie Olds, who are currently all unattached. Lewis Hall from Warrington. James Olds from West Brisbane Panthers. Morgan Evans, Matthew Morgan, Steve Parry and Liam Rice-Wilson, who for some reason has got an asterisk next to his name, all from West Wales, the victorious West Wales, and Ben Flower from the Wigan Warriors completes the train-on squad. And yeah, another international bit of news actually that came through today that we've squeezed into the rundown is the NRL have confirmed the 3 pools which will make up the inaugural Rugby League World Cup Nines in Sydney later this year. That's funny, I thought it was an RLIF tournament, not a NRL tournament, but shows what I know.
Well, that's what I've always said. Sorry.
It will be held at Bankwest Stadium in Parramatta on October the 18th and 19th this year, so that's a week after our grand final. These groups then are Group A, Australia, New Zealand, PNG and USA. Group B, which features England against France, Lebanon and Wales, and Group C of Tonga, Samoa, Fiji and the Cook Islands. God, they've skewed this in their favour, haven't they, Australia and the New Zealand, because the 2 highest placed teams in Group A will progress to the semi-finals alongside the winners of Groups B and Group C. So there you go. So they've cut out one of Tonga, Samoa or Fiji and one of England or Lebanon or France or Wales. The 2 highest placed teams from the women's pool, which features Australia, New Zealand and England and PNG, will then also feature in the women's final. So the women's tournament will run alongside the men's tournament. There'll be a number of key rule changes during the Nines tournament, Sarah. There will be a bonus zone, giving the teams a chance for a 5-point try. A 40-20 rule, a 20-40 rule will be introduced in addition to the traditional 40-20 with a 25-second shot clock on drop-kicked conversions. Golden try will be played in the event of a match being drawn after regular time. So what do you think of the 20-40 rule? That's the most interesting thing to come out of this announcement, isn't it, surely?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get my head around it. I kind of feel that's going to penalise a team that's been very good defensively.
Yeah, it's Nines, isn't it? So it's all about attack, isn't it? So
yeah.
I don't like the Todd Greenberg comments that if it's a success they'll consider putting it into the NRL, because that obviously means everyone else might have to consider putting it into their rules as well. Because like you say, it kind of just it's a bit rugby union, isn't it?
I was going to say I don't like this the sort of slight emphasis switch onto kicking.
Yeah, I think in Nines, because you've got all that space and stuff, it's harder to defend anyway, and on the big pitches, and this is to encourage attack, isn't it? Which is fine, but I don't think in the 13-a-side game.
Well, no, that's my big issue. You know, the thought of it then coming into the 13, the full game.
I mean, it's a high risk play, I suppose. If you're kicking from inside your own 20, you don't make it. You're giving the ball away midfield, which is a high risk strategy. So and also in the Nines version of the game, if they do that kick and the ball doesn't make touch, I'm guessing there won't necessarily be a player from the defensive side all that way far back all the time.
Yeah, I suppose not.
So what you're doing is you're either forcing a team to put a defender back, which should mean more spaces to make breaks ball in hand, or you're going to have some really exciting chases with the attacking team and the defending team all trying to close down on these balls. So I do think in the Nines game it'll add an interesting twist, but like you say, it worries me about putting an emphasis on just hoofing and clearing your line in the 13-a-side game, because it's a quality that we've tried to remove from the game is just kicking from a defensive point of view. Things like the 7 tackle rule if you kick it dead,